Thank you so much for joining the Northwest Church YouTube channel. If you'd like to follow along with the message today, you can check out the notes linked in the description below. Let's jump into the message.
So we're taking a break from our series, Tension, to share with you 15 reflections over 15 years as your pastor. So my biggest fear today was that you were going to be just disappointed that it's not going to be a sermon. So I don't have a sermon for you, but I do have 15 reflections, and I know some of you are getting really nervous, and you're breaking out your Snickers bar and saying it's going to be a long. No, I'll get you out on time. We got the 8:30 group out, and so we'll get you out on time this morning. But I really spent a lot of time this past week. I was gone and just spent a lot of time reflecting and praying and just asking the Lord, did He want something today? Was it supposed to be different? And I felt in my heart it was supposed to be different. And so I want you to know these 15 things that I'm going to talk about today. Some of them are personal, and some of them are leadership things I've learned, and some of them are spiritual experiences. And they're all concepts and things I've either have learned or continuing to learn today. I want you to know that we feel very, very honored and blessed to serve as pastors here at Northwest Church. It's with great pride as I travel and speak and teach and just travel. It's just always good to say I'm pastor of Northwest Church in Northwest Arkansas. And I had a guy this past week, he said, well, why do you always say Northwest Arkansas? I said, because it's different than the rest of Arkansas. It's good. I'll get in trouble for saying that today. But, you know, I look back, I think, wow, time has flown by. 15 years. And by the way, Pastor Jay's not going to get a Christmas bonus this year, showing all those wonderful pictures of me when I first got here. And I look back on it and I think, man, I've lost a little weight and lost a little bit more hair. And it makes me angry at my old staff for not telling me that I should have not had spiky hair back then. But anyway, time has really flown by. We've laughed a lot. We've cried some. We've had some wins and we've had some losses as a church. And you have loved me in spite of my mistakes and my flaws. I just want to say thank you for sticking with me and not giving up on me today. And I want to take a little trip down memory lane. And again, if you're new or been here since I got here, I hope some of these principles, you will write those down. I think these are very applicable to your life, to your leadership, and to whatever phase of life that you may be in. So I think a lot of you can relate some of these things that I'm going to talk about today. It's very important today that you hear my heart and that you take something away today that I hope will be an encouragement to you. The one thing that I hope that you leave here today, that you have no doubt that we love you. And it's a great honor to be pastors here. So number one, I'm going to give you 15 things. We're going to get through these really quickly. You all ready to go? You know, if you want to write them down, great. If you don't, it's no big deal. But number one, coming here 15 years ago was a life-defining decision. It was a life-defining decision. As I look back and as I reflect and reminisce about 15 years ago, I think, wow, that was a decision that was almost I did not make. As a matter of fact, the first call that came to me, I said, no, thank you. I'm not interested in that. But the Lord just knew that we were supposed to be here. And as I look back, it was a life-defining decision. As I reflect, it was life-defining for Lisa at that particular time because we did not know, but God knew that the facilities and the cancer treatment that she would receive in Tulsa being this close prolonged her life. And there's no question, Lisa, we got to spend more time with her because of the area in which we lived. And I just don't think it would have been that way if we would have stayed. So we did not know, but God knew that. It was life-changing for our son, Nate. And Nate was 10 years old when we came to Northwest Arkansas, and he was traveling and playing ball and playing basketball and football and baseball. And we didn't know coming here, you know, 7A school and how big this community was. We didn't know, but he excelled in sports, and we did not know at the time, but put him in a position to live out a lifelong dream of playing Division I baseball. So it was good for Nate to come here to, don't give him a big head. That's all right. He's got enough. He don't need any help there. But it's been life-defining for me as a pastor and as a person and for our family. And I will be forever grateful for Alton and Johanna Garrison, because if not for Alton and Johanna, I would not probably be here today. He said this to me after I had said no the first time. He said, Joe, if not now, then when? Meaning if you don't leave where you are now, then when are you going to leave? And it was at that moment God began to move my heart and began to just allowed my heart to transition from where I was to coming here. And it was a life-defining decision for me and for our family. Proverbs chapter 16, verse 9 says, we can make our plans, but the Lord determines our steps. And so long before he even called me to preach, he had already laid out my path and determined my steps. I just did not know at the time that he was going to lead me to Northwest Arkansas. Number 2, anything worthwhile requires time. Anything worthwhile requires time. You know, I am both flattered and find it somewhat funny when I hear young guys say, I want to pastor a church like Northwest Church. And when young guys say to me, when they look around and say, I want this and I want to be a part of that, I say, well, that's funny. It only took 15 years to get from where we were to where we are today. It takes a long time. Anything worthwhile in your life requires time. If you want financial security, that's going to require time. If you want good health in your body, that requires time. If you want good emotional health, that requires time. Anything in your life, your marriage, raising your children, anything worthwhile is going to require a lot of time. I want you to know there are no magic bullets. There are no magic formulas in life. There's no pie in the sky moment. It requires a lot of work over a long period of time to produce anything worthwhile. And a lot of people today go, I want my marriage to be healthy overnight. It's not going to be. I want my kids overnight. It's not going to be. It's going to take time. Anything worthwhile takes time. The average tenure of a pastor, depends on which report you read or which data you look at, it's anywhere between 3 and 7 years. Either way, we beat those numbers. That's good. I like it. I don't like anything about average. I don't like that word. Anything worthwhile takes time. It's brick by brick. It's layer by layer. Galatians chapter 6, verse 9 says, so let's not get tired of doing what is good. At just the right time, that's God's time, we will reap a harvest of blessing if we don't give up at the right time. We got to continue to do good over and over and over again. I tell people you got to fall in love with the mundane. You got to fall in love with the grind if you're going to be successful in your life. Number 3, God's hand is on Northwest Church. Again, these are reflections over 15 years. Things I have learned, things I have discovered. God's hand, for whatever the reason, is on Northwest Church. I was with a group of pastors this past week, and I had a guy ask me, he said, Joe, do you think that when you see God doing a work here and he's not doing one there, and you see he's doing one there and not there, what do you think that is? Do you think that's the man? Do you think that's the pastors? Or do you think that's the place? I said, well, I think it's a combination of both. Sometimes God, for whatever the reason, chooses to put his hand on a particular pastor and say, I'm going to bless that pastor. Other times, he says, you know what? That territory is very important to me. We're going to learn about some of that in our series coming up about spiritual warfare. There's territories in which I believe demonic spirits are assigned to, and because of those different territories, I believe God counteracts that. And he says, you know what? I need a strong church in that community. I need a presence there. I believe that. But for whatever the reason, here's what I said, but when it's both, when God takes a man and puts him in his place, his man in his place, it's a double blessing. And so for whatever the reason, God chose to put his hand on Northwest Church. It is evident that God's favor and anointing is here. I tell him every morning when I pray, especially on Sunday, Lord, they're coming because of you. Why? Because when you get here, you can sense God's presence. You can feel the anointing of the Holy Spirit. And when you miss it, you know you have missed something. Why? Because of the presence of God and because of the presence of the Holy Spirit. You know I missed something. So when you're not here, many of you watch online. Why do you do that? It's because you know that God's presence is here. God has positioned Northwest Church in this place for such a time as this. Number 4, not everyone's willing to take the journey. It's one of the sad moments of my life. John Maxwell said this, the great leadership guru. He said, the saddest day of my ministry was when I realized not everyone wanted to take the journey with me. Probably there's not anything that hurts me more is when people leave Northwest Church. There's not anything, I'm not trying to guilt you this morning. It's personal, and people say, don't take it personal, but I don't know how you don't take that personal. Anyway, I don't want to get sad today, but as I have looked back over the last 15 years and I have reflected, I remember some of the people who were here that are no longer here. They just, for whatever the reason, couldn't or wouldn't make the journey. It just makes me very sad. So it is a sadness in my life as I look back and say not everyone was willing to take the journey with us. Number 5, I have learned that and been reminded that God is faithful. God is faithful. I want all the young people to look at me in this room this morning because you've not been tried and tested like some of us older people have been tried and tested. I want you to know that God is faithful, that God will do what He says He will do. And there's going to come times and there's going to come moments and seasons in your life in which you're going to doubt that. You're going to wonder, am I going to get this job? Is this going to open up in school? Is this going to happen? I just want you to know it may not be the way you wanted it to turn out. It may not be according to your timetable, but I want you to know that God has proven over the years that He is faithful, that God stands guard over His word to make sure that His yes is yes and His no is no, and that's the end of the story. God is faithful. And when I look back over the years, I think, wow, how did we get here? How did this happen? I remember one particular story. We just got here. I think it might have been our first week. Lisa and I went to lunch. And she said, hey, on the way back, we need to stop by Office Depot. I got to pick up a couple things for the office. We had no money 15 years ago. No, you don't know what no money is. No money does not mean a little money. No money means no money. So we didn't have any money. And so, but she had a coupon for Office Depot. And I remember being at Office Depot, standing in line going, what in the world have I done? Here I am. I got a coupon, but thank God for the coupon to Office Depot. It's a reminder that God is faithful. There's so many testimonies of God's faithfulness about Northwest Church. Before I got here and after I've been here, for whatever the reason, God has been faithful to Northwest Church. God has been good to us. And I want you to know that God is faithful. Deuteronomy chapter 7 verse 9 says, understand therefore that the Lord your God is indeed God. He is the faithful God who keeps His covenant for 1,000 generations. God is faithful. Now, I'm not going to preach. Number 6, here's something that I have learned. Very important. And if I could take one thing and say, if somebody asked me today, if you could just preach one thing or teach one thing in 15 years, what would it be? Here it is. You ready? Now, this is going to help you. You ready for this? This is going to be profound. Let it go. Y'all didn't get it. You got to let it go. The Apostle Paul said in Philippians chapter 3, verse 13 and 14, says, no, dear brothers and sisters, I have not achieved it. But I focus on this one thing. This is what I preached when I came here. Forgetting the past. The word forgetting in Greek, I've taught this before. It means to lose out of your mind. It means completely lose it. Completely forget about it. He said, forgetting the past, and I look forward to what lies ahead. I have learned, watch this, to just let it go. If you don't learn this, eventually you are going to run out of relationships. You can get a divorce and you can remarry, only to get a divorce and remarry again. If you don't learn to let it go, you will never have a healthy relationship with your kids, with your spouse, with your pastor, people you attend church with, other family members. You have got to learn to let things go. Because a lot of people, when there's conflict, there's got to be a right and there's got to be a wrong. And anytime there's a right and a wrong, there's a winner and there's a loser. Anytime when you resolve conflict and one wins and one loses, that doesn't get resolved. It's like we buried the hatchet, but you left the handle sticking out of the ground. Because when it's convenient, you know what that person's going to do? They're going to go back and grab that handle because they lost that argument. So it's not about right or wrong. It's about, watch this, letting things go. Isn't that good? That's very good. All of us do dumb and regretful things. No, don't look so holy. I know y'all. No, we're talking about me. All of us, including Pastor Joe, we do dumb and regretful things. And if we don't learn to let these things go, they're going to hurt us the most. And if you don't learn to let it go, it's going to keep you up at night. It's going to cost you sleep. The consequences, it's going to cost you and your family. So I have learned over the last 15 years, I'm going to hurt people. People are going to hurt me. I'm going to offend people, and people are going to offend me. Doesn't make it right to do that. I have just learned over the years, I've just got to let some of this stuff go. If not, I'm not going to have anybody to be in relationship with. Let it go. Say that with me. Oh, that's so good. I hope you take that home with you today. Just roll down your window on the way out of here today and go, I'm letting it go. I'm letting it go. All right. Here's another one. This is a little freebie here. I'm still under number 6. But you got to let it go. It's about control. And I'm a control freak. Have been. I'm recovering from that. I'm no longer a control freak. I'm in the process of letting it go. I love what Groeschel said. He said, you can have control, you can have growth, you can have both. I remember we brought a church consultant in here, and he spent a whole year with us. And back then, it really was a lot of money. And he was trying to help us with some things. And we got some stuff. And anyway, he spent a whole year with us. And the only thing I got out of the whole year was, he said to me, he says, Joe, somebody else got to hold the baby. Some of y'all know what that means. So I went to my office, and I'll never forget this. I put my face in my hands. I just wept. I just cried and cried and cried and cried and thought, man, I nurtured this baby. I've raised this baby. It's my baby. I'm a control person. And I remember saying, I either got to let it go or we're not going to grow anymore. And since that day, we've doubled. Tells you how impactful I was as a leader. But we've doubled since that decision. And I'm still working on this one, so don't judge me too harsh on this. But you can't have both. You just got to learn. You got to let things go. Are y'all getting that today? Number 7, I've learned to focus on the process and not the end result. So when I came here, I'm all about the goal. I'm all about the top of the hill. We're going to get to that hill. Halfway up that hill, we're going to be looking at another hill because we're going to get that hill. I got to find another hill to climb because if we don't have a hill to climb, we're going to get bored and we're not going to do very good with that. Okay, so I got to have a hill to climb. Got to have a hill. We got to go up another mountain. But I've always been focused on the end result. And I noticed I always stayed frustrated because you're never going to get where you want to go. And you're never going to get there as fast as you want to go. So you're always focused on that finish line, and it's all about the end result, the end result, the end result, the end result. And then when you get there and it's not the end result that you had hoped for or prepared for or planned for, you're disappointed and you're frustrated, and then you go nuclear on everybody. And so here's what I learned. I focus on the process, and guess what? The end result takes care of itself. So in your marriage, in your relationship with your finances, focus on the process. I'm going to tell Nate a little bit. So Nate gets married, and you know, I believe in financial security. I preach it to my guys. Hard. Like, you got to save money. You got to do this. And Nate opens up his retirement account, and he starts putting money in there. And literally, like 3 weeks after he had opened the account up, he called me, and he said, hey, Dad, I'm worried. And I said, what's going on? He said, well, I'm looking at my retirement account. I don't think this is working. I said, Nate, it's been 3 weeks. You're not a millionaire in 3 weeks, son. It's going to take a little while. It takes a little time for that. My whole point is you got to focus on the process. Watch this, and I've said this for years. If the process is pure, the end result's going to be pure. If the process is skewed, the end result is going to be skewed. So don't focus on the end result. Focus on the process, and everything else will take care of itself. Philippians 1:6 says, I am certain that God who began a good work within you will continue his work until it is finally finished on the day when Christ Jesus returns. So focus on the process. Don't focus on losing 10 pounds. Focus on eating healthy today. Focus on going to the gym today. Focus on a good attitude today. Focus on going to church today. Focus on joining a connect group today. Focus on today, and everything else has a way of taking care of itself. Number 8. the value of people, the value that people have added to my life. Proverbs chapter 13, verse 20 says, walk with the wise and you will become wise. Associate with fools and you will get in trouble. 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 33 says, don't be fooled by those who say such things, because why? Bad company corrupts what? Good character. I've taught this for years as a youth pastor. If you want to know what kind of kids you have, all you got to do is look at their friends. That was a little scary, okay? I also heard it said that you're the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So I will be grateful and always grateful for the board who invited me to be here. Some are still here, and I'm grateful and thankful for those who stuck with us. I'm so grateful for our board of directors who have allowed us to lead this church. I can take you around this country, and there's some common threads with churches. If it is a board-controlled church, it is not a growing, healthy, thriving church. If it is a pastor-led church, it is for the most part, a growing, healthy, thriving, progressive church. Can't be two. Board and the church, of the board and the pastor cannot lead. There's only got to be one. And so I'm thankful for our board who has allowed us to lead. I'm thankful for our staff, many who have been here for 10 and 11 years, and some who've joined recently, and for all the staff members who've come and they've gone on to pastor and do other things. And I just think we have a great team of people. And it's taken 15 years to build the team that we currently have. And we have, I believe, the best team we've had. I'm talking about the deepest team we've had since I've been here in 15 years. And it's just taken a long time. So I'm grateful for our team leaders and our team members. I'm thankful for all of you. I get here on Sunday mornings at 7 o'clock. And literally, there's probably at least 20 automobiles already on this parking lot. I just want you to know that doesn't happen in every church. And the smiles and the attitude that you have when you get here, it certainly does not happen at all churches. And the one thing that people always say about Northwest Church is those are some happy people who go to Northwest Church. And when you see people serving, guess what? You serve with happy. You're happy about that. You have a great attitude. And it shows. And I just want you to know that means a lot, that nobody gripes and complains about serving. At least I don't hear that and see that, and thank you for that. And some of you have had an internal impact on my life. Your friendship, your encouragement, your smiles, and your energy. I've said it for years. There's not anything that's more encouraging to me than see you on Sunday morning. I sincerely mean that. Not anything more encouraging than to see you. And I can't call names today because that'll get me in trouble, but there was a family in one particular. It was right after Lisa had passed. So Lisa passed away on officially it was December the 6th, but she really passed away on the 5th. But anyway, so Christmas was right around the corner, and I don't know, I kind of walked around, felt sorry for myself for about a week, and I thought, wow, Christmas is coming. And Nate, our son, loves Christmas. He's always loved Christmas. And so it's a big deal. So I thought, well, Christmas, we got to put up a tree. Well, I never put up a Christmas tree. Lisa always did the Christmas tree. So I had to go find the Christmas tree. And I thought, man, I don't think I can do this. I was so emotional. And I called a friend of mine in the church, and I said, hey, would y'all mind coming over and help me just put up a Christmas tree? And I didn't know this, but they brought dinner over that night. So we sat at the kitchen table, and we had barbecue. And for 2 hours, they listened to me cry just like a blooming idiot. I just sat there and cried for 2 hours and just cried. And they listened, and they listened. And when the 2 hours was finished, we got up and we put the Christmas tree up. And for the next couple of years, they'd come over every year, and they would help me put the Christmas tree up. Because even when your wife dies, Christmas still comes. And Nate was still getting up on Christmas morning expecting a Christmas tree and presents. And one of the things he said when I told him I was getting married to Christy, he was so excited. He threw both hands up in the air and said, Dad, no more Cracker Barrel out of the box. He was so excited about no more Cracker Barrel out of the box. So it's a different season in our life today, but I will never forget that family. And so just little things like that. You think somebody coming over, helping you put up a Christmas tree, has had as much impact on my life as anything in the last 15 years. I have a friend of mine who's in Houston today. He and his family. We've been connected for a long time. These are dear friends of mine. And I just want you to know, I've truly believed that God sends people to be a friend to pastors. And when I hear pastors say things like, well, we're not supposed to get close to the people, I think you're a dummy. And because here's the deal. I'm going to get close enough that you're going to see all the good, the bad, and the ugly about me. And I'm going to give you rocks to throw at me. So if you want a rock to throw at me, don't worry about looking for one. I'll just hand you one because I'm human and I'm very real. And I think back over the years, and I'm thinking about my friends. My friend who's watching today from Houston, I just think, where would I be today without this family in my life? And what would I? And I just think of the impact. And I think about all these dumb pastors who, I shouldn't say that, all these guys who don't allow people to get close to them because they want to impress them. And I don't want to impress you. I want to influence you. And I can't influence you at a distance. I can impress you from a distance, but I can't influence you. And so I don't understand. Why don't we just tear down the facade? And that's kind of who I am, is just tear down this thing and say, here I am. I'm real. Real's not always real good, but it's real. I'm just thankful because you don't understand the impact that you have on my life. There's a family who every week hugs me and they hunt me down. I feel like the hunted and just say, I love you. You just don't know those little things. You think, well, you're a pastor. Well, you don't think I don't like hearing I love you? And little things like that. I'm just so thankful for so many great people that I have in my life. And I am blessed to have some great men in my life who have been a tremendous blessing to me. But the greatest impact on my life over the past 15 years has been people like you who show up every week, who encourage me. And so when I grab you, when you get ready to leave, sometimes and I'll pull you back and I say, thank you for being faithful. Those are not just words. I mean that. It encourages me and it has blessed my life. You're the reason that I made it through the darkest valley of my life. And when I lost Lisa, I thought, Lord, I don't know what I'm going to do. I wanted to just lay in bed every day and eat ice cream and eat Oreos. I didn't want to get up. I didn't want to do anything. And I knew every Sunday morning that you were going to be in this room and you were going to expect me to come up on this platform and preach a great sermon to you. And I knew that you were expecting that, and you were the reason. And that was my motivation to get out of bed every morning and get up and come to work and be here on Sunday morning and try to preach a great sermon to you. So you're the reason I made it through. So when I look out and I see all of you, I'm stories. I can go around this room, and I remember when so many of you, I remember when you started coming. I remember marrying some of y'all, and I have learned to value people. Power of partnership in my life, and I got to hurry. Number 9, I am called to Northwest Church. And because I'm called, I cannot quit. Because I am called, I cannot quit. It is both exhilarating and exhausting at the same time. Thank you for sticking with me. And I have zero desire to go anywhere or to be anything else. And people always ask, Joe, are you going to go to Springfield? I thought, if you hear about me going to Springfield, you know I have lost every piece of my mind. If you think I'm going to go to get involved in the politics of our movement. I love the Assemblies of God, but we just don't do very good. I'm just going to stop right there because I'm getting a lot of trouble. I'm saying I am called to Northwest Church, and because I'm called to Northwest Church, I can't quit. I'm telling you, everybody, all y'all can quit, but I can't, so I got to be here. So, number 10, the importance of reinventing myself. And when you look at those pictures, whoo, Jay, y'all better buy Jay something for Christmas. The importance of reinventing myself. It's not who you are, but you don't change the content of the package, but you do change the package. And watch this, you got to learn to reinvent yourself. And if you don't reinvent yourself in your marriage, either one or both of you are going to get left behind. So what happens in a marriage, if one continues to grow and one reinvents himself at the other, and then you have one pulling away from the other, and you get to the end of your road and you realize, hey, we've been plowing a crooked road because one's outgrown the other. So you got to continue to reinvent yourself. Number 11, the importance of margin. When I came here, I was like, go, 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 go. And my pace still has not changed. My engine still runs at a very high capacity. I've just learned to take more breaks. There are days I come in a little bit later sometimes, and there's days I leave a little bit sooner. I've never done that before. Again, my motor still runs, but I just idle a little bit more. All of us are running at warp speed trying to get there, only to realize that there is dead. financial security, new home, the right job. You just go, go, go there. I got to get there. I got to get there. When you get there, you die. So I realized that a few years ago, you know what? I'm going to slow down a little bit. I'm going to enjoy the scenery. So that's what I do. I haven't really slowed down. I've just rolled down the window and looked out the window a little bit more. So learn to do that. Number 12 is the precious present. Oh. Apostle Paul writes in Ephesians chapter 5, so be careful how you live. Don't live like fools, but like those who are wise. Make the most of every opportunity to live today. So listen, let me tell you what I've learned. I learned this after losing Lisa. There's no promise of tomorrow. I want you to listen to this. Make the most of your opportunity. It makes me spitting mad when I go out and I see families on their phones at lunch and dinner. And I think, you have no idea this could be your last meal. Look them in the eye. Live and laugh today, not tomorrow. The Bible says do not boast of tomorrow morning because you don't have tomorrow to brag about, but you do have the day. It's called the precious present you have today. Don't wait till you get the end of your life to tell your loved ones that what you always wanted to tell them today. Love on them today. Live and laugh and have fun today. Are y'all hearing what I'm saying today? Make the most of today because the present's all you have. You don't know about the future. You can't change the past. You got no control over the future. So make the most of today. So that's what Christy and I have done. We said we're going to live and we're going to laugh and we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to hold hands today. That's right. We're going to have a holy kiss today. I said make out in the 8:30, and she said it wasn't very good. So I said okay. I said what wasn't very good? The making out or or saying it? You know, can't say making out, but because just a holy kiss is what pastors do here. So just make the most of it today. Number 13, forever right. I'm going to write on this subject. You got to learn to balance joy and grief in your life. Psalms 30 verse 5 says, weeping may last through the night, but joy comes with the morning. So every day, Christy and I, we live, every day we navigate the tension of joy and grief. We have to balance that. So every good day is a bad day. Every sad, happy day is so today was a happy day. And yet there's a sense of me that's very sad because Lisa's not here and all of that. And when Nate got married, that was a very happy day. Lots of reasons. Y'all don't get that. He gone. So it was a happy day, but it was a sad day because Lisa wasn't there. Joy and grief. And when the girls get married one day, it's going to be a happy day. They're getting married and they gone. Okay? And it's going to be a happy day, but it's going to be a sad day because their dad won't be there to see that and experience that. So I'm still learning to balance joy and grief, and we all do that. We all have joy and we all have grief, and we got to balance that. And the more effective that you become at that, the more effective you're going to be and the more successful you're going to be in your life, okay? Number 14, I'm getting close. Number 14, I'm flawed. I can relate to the Apostle Paul when he said to young Timothy, Christ Jesus came into the world to save sinners, and I'm the worst of them all. One translation says, I'm the chief of all sinners. That would be me. I know this is a shocker to many of you because you thought I was perfect. I wish I could go back. And I look back over the last 15 years and I think, wow, I wish I could go back and change things. I thought this week about the sound booth and how many times I've yelled at the sound guys and turn it up, turn it down. You know, and I wish I could change my tone. And I think about the worship team and how I yelled at them, not yelled, but just not a good tone. And think about the worship team. I don't know why they still come and complain about light bulbs being out on Sunday and sidewalks not blown off and weeds in the. You have a right to gripe about weeds. There should never be weeds in the flower bed. And so some of this stuff I get accused of being like, I'm like, well, everybody notices weeds in flower beds. Everybody notices this kind of stuff. And sidewalks have to be blown off because somebody could walk in and go, oh, there's trash on the sidewalk. I'm not going to get saved today. Those things are very important. And so my passion is my strength and my weakness. Here's a freebie. Your strength is also your weakness. Strength is also your weakness. So not if, but I want you to look at me for a moment. Not if, but when I have hurt you and when I have disappointed you as a person, as a pastor, I sincerely say today, I'm very sorry. I know I've hurt and I know I've disappointed you. I've disappointed myself many times. Would you please forgive me? Number 15. To love again. Northwest Church will always serve as a reminder of where my journey with Lisa came to an end and where my life with Christy started. And somebody asked me one time when I was single, they said, Pastor, if you ever get married again, do you think you can love again? And I said, well, yeah, I can love again. I'm human. And I want to love again. I'm still young. And somebody said one time, they said, you think you can love anyone as much as you love Lisa? And I said, I think I can love somebody more than I love Lisa. And not throwing Lisa to this, I will always love Lisa, and Christy will always love Ed. But when you've lost a spouse, you're like, wow, I'm going to make up for this. I'm going to live every day, and I'm going to love every day. And so I'm in love. And people tell me all the time, say, Pastor, you look so happy. That's what love does. That's what love does. And a holy kiss thrown in here and there. It just helps things out to love again. And so I'm very grateful that Christy came not only to join me, but to be a part of Northwest Church. And I just want you to know, we love this church. We love you. What a blessing you have been to my life. What an encouragement you have been to my life. And whether you like it or not, we're stuck together. And so what we're going to do is make the most of it. You know the best thing? The best is yet to come. Because you know what? God believed, and I believe this, that God said there's a reason that God put his hand on our lives and on this church, because he said, I believe there needs to be a healthy, spirit-filled church in Northwest Arkansas that is going to outlive you and is going to outlive me. So I want you to know the best is yet to come, because I think every day, if we can grow 10 times in number and in our finances from where we started 15 years ago, can you imagine where we can be 15 years from now, having the starting point that we have today? I'm telling you, the best is yet to come for Northwest Church. We still got a mountain to climb, and we're going to do this together. Why? Because we're going to influence and impact the entire world from right here in Northwest Arkansas. Would you stand with me this morning, please?
Thank you so much today for tuning in and checking out the message. We hope you were encouraged. And today, if you'd like to make a decision to become a Christ follower, please contact us. You can do that by simply clicking the link in the description below. And today, if you'd like more information about Northwest Church, or you would like to plan a visit to come visit us in person, you can simply do that by going to northwestchurch.tv. We'd love to meet you. We'd love to connect with you.